learn what you're doing. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you, it's really nice to be here. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm trying to stand and not sit, but we'll see how it goes. So, hello, nice to meet all of you. I hope this will be useful also for those of you who are not like members or partners in a Board Journeys network. I'm going to tell you about our activities. This is going to be quite practical because I think it's a good starting point for all cooperation, international cooperation in the field of visual arts, that we know what the other partners do. So that's why I don't want to be theoretical. I want to, in practice, tell who we are, how we run our art business, what we do, what is our space like, what kind of art we present. And I have here two friends from our gallery, Photobox. There's Emma Helle and Seppo Salminen in the middle. If I forget something, they will help me out. Yeah. Yes. So I'm executive director for the gallery. I will later on tell about how we organize things, so you maybe get an understanding of my role in relation to the artist role in our space, but we'll get back to that later. Yes, we are located in Helsinki, Finland. Everyone knows where Finland, Helsinki is. Maybe some of you have been there and you're warmly welcome to visit us in Helsinki. And the name of our gallery is Forumbox. Here in this context I use the word gallery, but we also in Finland use the word space for art, Forumbox, a space for art, and same in Finnish, because we don't only want to be a gallery, we also want to do other stuff, but in this context it's more easy to describe the business if we would use the word gallery, but I want you to be aware of it's something else also than not only a traditional gallery. And also if you think of the name that we have, it's at the same time it's a forum for something to practice together, to perform, and a box, as in a white box gallery. And later on you will see some pictures about our gallery spaces, so you will maybe understand the atmosphere of the space and how it's related to this being at the same time a forum and a box, a forum box. Okay. So here's a list of things I'm going to tell you today. First about background and history, how we were established and what was the idea behind Forumbox, and then some mission and goals, what we aim to do, and then some words about our gallery space and location, because it has a crucial role in our activities also. Then, because most of you maybe don't know about Helsinki Art Scene, I'm going to tell you some words really shortly about art gallery scene in Helsinki and these kind of specialities we have in Finland in this system, how things are financed and how does things work in the gallery field. And then more detailed about Forumbox, financing and organizing, how we do what we do. And the most important thing, exhibition activities, which kind of exhibitions we have, which kind of artists we present. And then about other activities, not only visual arts and other things we do. And then in the end, some words about challenges and changes in the operative environment where visual art gallery works and what kind of challenges we are facing. And last but not least is international projects and goals. Also has a relation to why we are here now, what we maybe want to get out of this, from this Board Journeys networking and communicating. And you can interrupt me if there's something unclear or you don't understand what I mean. It's always a bit, you get nervous when you speak English, but I hope you will understand me. I try not to speak too fast. Okay, yes, we start. So our form is that we are artist-run contemporary art gallery. Our form is that we are a cooperative society. That means that we are in a way a corporation, that we do business, we can sell art, but our aim is to be non-profit. So we pay taxes and we sell art, but in the end of the year there should be a zero result in the end of the year. And this cooperative society Forumbox was established in 1996. The man behind the idea was sculptor Kai Tapper, already passed away, one of the most famous Finnish sculptors that we've had in Finland. And he, together with a group of artists, had this idea that they want to build something new together, want to create a space where artists have a freedom to decide about the artistic exhibition program, and freedom to act without selling pressures, but still having the possibility to sell from this kind of artist-run perspective. There was several reasons why it happened just then. There was back then there wasn't so many artist-run galleries in Helsinki. After all, there's come more artist-run actors in the field of galleries in Helsinki, but around the time when we were established, there was one big gallery that was highly appreciated by artists ended, or there was a fusion with another gallery, and there were a group of established artists who felt homeless, that they didn't have a home where to present their art. So that was like one reason, but of course there was several reasons at the same time. And they wanted to also maybe offer something new, a space where you could present that kind of art that wouldn't have a home elsewhere. Later on you will see some pictures and our space, so you get an understanding what I mean with this. The gallery opened in 1999, and we are all our existing time, we've been in the same location. I will tell about this starting history soon a bit more, but the first exhibition was done together with the Kiasma Museum of Contemporary Art. That's like one of the biggest museums in Finland for contemporary art. The first exhibition was had works by Antoni Karo and Richard Serra, these kind of big names. Later on we've had more Finnish names, but we are all the time open for also like high quality international exhibitions. And from the very beginning there was this idea that we are not only a place for visual arts, that there's at the same time also a possibility to offer something for performing arts, dance groups, theater groups, experimental music, puppet theater. I will get back to this, but that was like from the starting point also an idea that there's this forum for also different art forms to meet. Because at least in Finland, visual art is like, they don't communicate so much with like architects or design or dance, and we would like to have more of this kind of discussion between different art forms. So we try our best, but of course there's a lot to be done still. And since we are a cooperative society, we have members, and members are an important thing in what we do. Currently we have a bit more than 80 members. Most of them are artists, but there's also some members that are like curators or art historian or producer, but mainly artists. There are artists working with photography, sculpture, painters, moving image, different kind of forms. And what's also nice in our activities that we have really a wide range of different artist generations. So there's like a 20-something, 30-something year old artist, and then there are really old, really established one, like one of those, you could say, big names of the Finnish art scene, and we enable also them to communicate between each other, and we want to be open. Also in our board there is like the age range is really big, because we find it useful. In many art galleries, artist-run art galleries in our country, there's like this kind of a younger generation artist-run spaces, and that creates a bit different kind of a starting point for the exhibition activities, and also the social feeling of how we do things together. Of course, when in the beginning when we were established, the group was smaller, but it's become a bit bigger now. We don't want it to be like really big, because then it gets it's hard to get everyone involved. And of course, these 80 members, about what we now have, they are not all like super active. That maybe someone was active in the 90s but doesn't have now time. But it's changing. But we could say we have around maybe 20 members who are like actively taking part in the development of the gallery space and our activities. Yeah, I maybe already mentioned something about our mission and goals, but to get it more clear, so still some words. It's important for us that we can present exhibitions also from emerging artists and established artists at the same time. Also might be in the same exhibition, or then there's exhibitions that come after one another, can be like really different. We want them to have, the artists to have freedom without selling pressures. This is of course in comparison to commercial galleries, and how an artist feels to present their works in a commercial gallery, when there is always this thing that you have to, or you have the feeling that you in a way need to choose your artworks based on that there's a possibility in theory to sell them. I mean, like questions about shall you present installations or paintings or like objects that you can sell that are sellable in that sense. So that's one point. Because we have a big space, you will soon see pictures. We also enable artists to renew their artistic practice, because it might be that we have a painter who gets an exhibition time from our gallery, is then when he or she has the exhibition doing something like totally else, because he or suddenly has this huge space she or he can use. So that's also important in our exhibition actions. And one point is this democratic decision making, that exhibitions we have are chosen by the artists by themselves. I will get more detailed back to this later. Important is also that we want to reach new audiences. One way to do that is that when we organize a performing art program, this kind of people who go to theater or see a dance performance but are not so used to going to galleries, they find their way to art gallery. So it's this kind of first pollinating the audiences between different art forms is also crucial. Yes, and then in the end of my speech I will tell about our international activities, but this has been like a couple 3-4 years. A really important part of our actions is to find international cooperation possibilities, both to our gallery but also to our individual artist members. Yeah, then we go to how the space looks like and where it's located. Soon some pictures. Sorry for the amount of text. We are in a space that is owned by City of Helsinki. It used to be this kind of a cold storage room, almost like a non-space. You will see pictures soon, or maybe I show no pictures, so I can come back to this text. This was the starting point, what the artist had when they had this idea in the 90s that they want to establish a gallery and they didn't know where to put it. And then some of them, or the man behind the idea, he found this space and saw the possibilities in it. Of course, as you see, there was a need for a big renovation to be done. But it's really important in our activities that we want to stay in this place, because the character of this place and the feeling of the space is important also for the artists who plan the exhibition to the gallery. And then when this space, when the artist got this space for the Forumbox gallery, there was an architect, Professor Juhani Pallasmaa, who made the plans how to change this storage space into an art gallery and how to build a kitchen and build office and access and information desk and so on. And then the renovation was done by artists themselves, and it was also paid by the artists and the cooperative society. So of course not from the bucket, but maybe a little from the bucket, but like collecting money for the renovation. And this space, or like this space in the city where we are, is located by the sea. In the 90s it wasn't in the middle of the center, but now when the center is getting bigger and it's also going more towards the sea, and old harbor areas are going to get transformed to housing areas. So in a way our location is year by year getting better, you could say. And this is like old harbor area, this kind of old industrial area. Though it's changing towards a housing area, it still has this certain feeling that is visible in the space. And it was really nice yesterday to see this harbor here in Hamburg, because it came to my mind from the place where we are located. And now there are also in the same area there are lots, or maybe lots, not lots, but some other artist-run galleries as well. So there is this kind of how would you say, a lot of things happening in the area where we are located. And the space we have is quite big. It's, well, I don't know if you find it big, but in the context of Helsinki art galleries, it's really big. We have 300 square meters about, and really big rooms where you can exhibit really heavy stuff. You can drive in with a car and have really heavy sculptures exhibited. And it's like the space is between like a gallery and a Kunsthalle or a small museum. So it's also really high. We have 6 meters high, so you can have big installations, because most of the white box galleries in city center of Helsinki, they are, you know, this kind of like small boutiques that they are 2 or 3 meters and quite small, lots of windows and this kind of clean feeling that we don't have. We want to have this industrial feeling still visible in the gallery. Yes, this you saw. This is how it looks now. This is the entrance, so what we did, or they did, I wasn't there, I'm too young, but and inside we have this kind of space. This is like a small part of the gallery, one of the biggest halls you see here on the right side. And this is the area. This is like if you are standing in front of the door having a cigarette or coffee, so this is what you will see from the window. This is the place. Maybe it reminds a bit about Hamburg. Just I choose these pictures not only based on these artworks, but that you get a sense of the space. So that we have different kind of, and also the space looks really different if there's like paintings or there's sculptures or big installations. Video works we have quite often, but I don't have photos because it's those still photos are always a bit difficult to show, so that you would get a sense of how the work has been exhibited. These are quite new exhibitions that we had last year or this year. This was really interesting. There was a sea of this kind of children balls. I don't know. Pallomeri, what is in English?
I have no idea. It's
Yeah.
a sea of tiny movements.
Yeah, you know this kind of place where little children go and play. So there was an artist who made this kind of. They were moving when you came close, and then they ended moving, and it was about grief and pollution, the theme of this. But for instance, this kind of exhibitions would look really different in this kind of smaller white box cube gallery. There's just a floor plan how we look. There's like a lobby and 3 big exhibition halls. The upstairs, well, it's not upstairs. It's like 5 steps up. It's not 6 meters high. It's only 4 meters. But
This 4.7.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So it's almost 5 actually. And here we have 6 meters. This is a bit old. We should make a new floor plan. But here we have a media art space called Media Box, where we present video art exhibitions. I will tell you later more about that. And then on top of this part, we have a kitchen and an office. So you go here, stairs up, and my room is over here, and so on. And these were the windows, and here is the sea. So we have quite little amount of windows, so the amount of natural light is still quite big, at least in the summertime. Yeah, then some words about Helsinki and the galleries. I think it's important to tell because most of you maybe don't know how it is. You could say that we have like 4 types of galleries. I'm not talking about museums, but galleries now here. In Helsinki, there are these kind of big commercial galleries that represent their own artists, this kind of international style that they sell art, and they are not allowed to exhibit in other galleries, or if they are, there's strict regulations, and then they take a 50% selling commission when they sell art. But the amount of these kind of galleries in Helsinki, it's really tiny. Though the amount of galleries is quite big now, I don't remember the latest figure, but I think it was around 70 galleries located in the Helsinki area. The Helsinki is not so big. We have about 500,000 inhabitants, a bit more. Of course, the region has a bit more, but the city of Helsinki. Yeah. So in that sense, it's quite big amount of galleries, one could say. And then the other groups of galleries, we have smaller commercial galleries, like private-owned galleries, that there's one man and a woman as a gallerist doing the exhibition work, but they are not representing the artist, and it works like totally differently. This is a bit like Finnish peculiarity that we have this kind of places, and the amount is quite big. Then we have artist-run galleries, and of course the group of artist-run galleries, it's really there's many types of artist-run galleries. Some are working like a voluntary basis. Some have a staff like we do. Some of the artist-run galleries, they don't actually do anything for the artist. They don't sell. They just have the walls, and the artist has to sit there and take care of the audience. But we sell and we have staff, and we do like a wider range of projects. Then there is fourth group is galleries belonging to artist unions or organizations. This is quite a strong thing in the Finnish art scene. Mainly they were established in the 1960s. It had to do with this kind of left movement in the society in the 1960s, that there is like a painters union and different kind of art, visual art forms have their own union, and the union has a gallery. They are quite good as well, and they have a strong tradition, but nowadays they are also facing these challenges about how to finance their activities, so we will see what happens in the future. But it's a nice combination of different kind of galleries, and we try to cooperate with others, though it's not always so easy because there are different kind of desires to only do their own business and not to cooperate. But we also have this idea that when we are now here and if we learn something, we can take it home and give also something to the other, at least to the other artisanal galleries in our city. And often someone asks that if we are like an alternative gallery. Someone here asked me yesterday that are you like this kind of alternative gallery? It's hard to answer to that question because then you should define what you mean by alternative gallery. Is it like an alternative to what? Is it like the how the business is run? What kind of role does artists have? Or is it the content of the art exhibitions? Or is it the character of the space? And what does the space have to offer to artists? But in a way we maybe are, but there's no clear answer to that. Yes, and then one thing I have to explain you, so because we get back to this when I tell about our financing. In the Finnish visual arts scene, we have a really weird thing that's always really hard to explain to international artists. We have this system we called artist rents. That all the galleries, except those top commercial international style private galleries, so all the other galleries are asking artists to pay a rent. It's like you can use another word, but when artists speak to each other, they call it a rent. That when you are an artist and you have an exhibition in an art gallery, so you have to pay a certain amount of money to the gallery, and that money goes to the rent of the gallery and electricity and this kind of basic things. This has to do about how the finance system of visual arts is acting in Finland, and there's a big debate going on that how should we change this, because it's really clear that if we just take away those artist rents, all the galleries will have to end, because there's then no way to survive, because also those top commercial ones in Finland, they are not making profit, because the business in Finland is really hard. Anyone wants to say something?
Just quickly, maybe to open up this concept of artist paying rent. It has to do with a maybe outdated policy that was actually chosen by the artists when there were fewer artists and better funding. And the principle has been that the money follows the artist. So you choose where you have the exhibition, and then you pay rent, and then you apply for a grant and you pay it.
Yeah.
And this used to work, but nowadays there are more artists and funding is not adequate, and this calls for a change. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So it's, of course, there's, as Emma said, there's every now and then there's an artist who doesn't get a grant and needs to take the money from their pocket. But at least in our gallery, because we are quite well known and the art field appreciates us and the critics and the museums, so if you have an exhibition time in our gallery, you are most likely to get a grant of some kind. But this is really weird, but weird system, and now there's as Emma also said, there's a big discussion going on that how should we solve this question in the future, and if we could choose, we have this rent as well. I will come back to this, but we would put it away, not have that system, but that would mean that we should need to end our activities, because at the same time, for example, the level of rents in the city, like space rents to the owners of the spaces are getting like really high up. So the expenses we have are getting bigger and bigger all the time. Yes. How we operate now, about practical things. We have 2 full-time staff members working at the moment. Me as an executive director, taking care of all the everyday actions and directing the gallery. And then we have an exhibition coordinator who is doing more practical work. Then we of course have weekend workers and mounting staff and assistant and trainees. But 2 full-time, and I've calculated that we do a work of 4 full-time people, so I guess this is the same in other countries as well, that we have really much things we have to do. How we are financed? We have 4 sources of funding. First is, or I don't know, the order or the amount of the funding, it can vary from year to year, but one is the selling commission. We take 30% selling commission when we sell art. From our member artists we take 25%, so it's a bit lower. Then we get grants. We are in a happy situation that we have quite good public funding. There's money coming from City of Helsinki, the Art Council of Finland, and different kind of private funds that are actually quite big actors in the financing of visual arts and other art forms in Finland. Then there are these rents or exhibition compensations that I just told you about. And then we have a 4th source that's actually quite important to us. It's a rental income. We allow private parties and private companies to have things in our gallery. There's weddings and big parties and different kind of seminars held outside the opening hours of the exhibitions, because the space is really big. And that enables us to get there, like different kind of actors, and we ask them a rent, and that's important money, and we use that money to run the gallery and the artistic activities we have. Here's just one picture to show that how the art space can be used for fundraising in a way that we rent the space for a wedding or a party. And that's not only about getting money, that's also a question about gaining new audiences. There might be companies with, lawyers or doctors who have a bigger wallet. They could buy art, or they could learn how to come to galleries. So this is like a side product we get when we rent the space. Some pictures about these exhibitions. Then about exhibitions, do I still have time? Okay, I try to be fast. We have an open application system, so all of our exhibitions, except international projects, are selected through an open call. We have open call once a year, and we always give those exhibition times 2 years forward. So because this is a big gallery and the artist needs time to produce the artworks and apply the grants for the expenses of the exhibition. We have yearly from 12 to 20 exhibitions. This amount varies because we can offer whole gallery space or 1/3 of the space. So the artist can apply whole space, 1/3 of the space, or as like 3 artist friends together the whole space. So this is the reason why the amount is changing. Then, as I mentioned, we have a media box art room for video art. Then we choose like always a 1 year forward exhibitions. That's done in cooperation with Aavearkki, that's a distribution center for Finnish media art. And there we have an open application for their members, and actually then I'm the one who curates that program. But all the other exhibitions are chosen by our member artists. Each year we select a jury of like 5 to 6 artists, and then also the director taking part, and we go through all the applications. We get around like between 100 and 200 applications each year, and then we select the program. Yes. And this is important that when we select the exhibitions, we don't think about selling or is it trendy or not. We just, although the artist just keeps an eye on the content, the quality, if the art is interesting or not. So this is the crucial thing we have. Then some pictures about exhibitions we've had. I forgot, we made a book a couple of years ago when we had a 15 years anniversary. There's small pictures, I can put it around. It's in Finnish and Swedish, so you can't read it, but you can have a look with the pictures. There should have been English text, but I wasn't taking part to that book, so I don't know the reason, but some more pictures. This is from the upper side of the gallery, that is not the highest part. Then some words about other activities I already mentioned. This is important to us is that we offer the space for other art forms. And when we have like a theater group performing, we ask only a small rent, like 35 euros in an hour. That's like really, really little, because we at the same time we have one person there to open the door and we pay the salary. So this is like a really, we are not getting money through this, because it's more like of a ideological decision that because there's a lot of groups that don't have a space of their own. We can also offer them a space where they can train, like we just last week we had a dance group. They trained for 4 evenings, and then they had a first presentation and a couple more presentations in the evenings inside of a period of 2 weeks in our gallery. Then we also do workshops for school children and different kind of gallery tours, but I think all the galleries does this kind of things. But we would have a desire to do even more, but that would require that we would have more staff. Here's some pictures about different kind of events we've had. This is a workshop for school children. They went out to paint. Then I'm soon in the finish, but something still. I will try to describe the situation, which kind of challenges we and other galleries and visual artists have at the moment. Part of them are maybe like worldwide, that you recognize these same things. At the same time, there's this huge development of the urban city culture in the city, in Helsinki. New things, festivals and restaurants and food culture and design and architecture, like coming up all the time, and people are more and more learning to go to galleries and learning to follow dance and different kind of things going on. And at the same time, we have it really hard in the selling side of art, because the art market in Finland, it's really tiny. There's we get a big museums, they are like buying customers, but because they're in Finland, the museums and collections, their budget for buying art is getting smaller and smaller. So this means that it's harder and harder for the galleries and most important for the individual artists, because selling art is one important part of income for the individual artists. So this is a really big challenge all the actors are facing, that how shall we be able to sell and reach new audiences, and we all the time trying to find ways how to survive, and this kind of cross-pollinating audiences between different art forms, and getting corporation parties and new rich people to come to galleries. These kind of things we can do, but there's a lot to be done, and I personally think that this is a thing there should be a discussion between different galleries and artist-run galleries, because everyone has the same challenges, so it would be really useful that we try to solve these things together. Then last thing about the international projects. As I said in the beginning, it's been like a couple years, 3-4 years, we've been doing international activities, so that there's all the time going on something. At the moment we have several projects going on, and we will also try to write about what's the point, what's the goals of doing international cooperation. There is different goals. One is to get new connections, new partners, to do exchange program or exchange exhibition or touring exhibition. Second is to enable our artist members to get like personal contacts abroad, outside Finland. And what I think is also really important is that we see international cooperation as a way of learning. And that's why I decided here that I want to present what we do in practice. I'm really glad that there's going to be some more practical speeches as well, and Yoshi was really practical and telling what they do, because that's the way how we can also think of how we could do better what we do compared to other artist-run galleries or different kind of associations all over Europe and outside Europe. So far we've been mainly doing cooperation in Europe and mostly in Scandinavia, because that's the closest one, like between Scandinavian countries, but we are open to cooperation outside Europe as well. At the moment currently we have 4 projects or cooperations going on. They are in a different phase. We have a cooperation between Czech Republic and Finland. We had a photo box exhibition in Prague last winter, and now we are getting exchange exhibition from them to our gallery. And then we've done a cooperation between Iceland. We had this summer a huge Icelandic art exhibition. There was different kind of actors involved, and we were one of the exhibition locations. And now we are trying to find finance to continue this cooperation in order to take Finnish artists to have an exhibition and photobox artists to have an exhibition in Iceland and maybe some residency cooperation. Then we have one really big project going on at the moment. It's called Hybrid Matters. It's about bioart, and it's this kind of a cross-disciplinary cross-art project. And there are partners from Sweden, Norway, Denmark and Finland. And there's been a touring exhibition. And the last exhibition space is Photobox. We are hosting this big Nordic exhibition in the end of this year. At the moment there is not so much on our website, but we are working on that, so maybe later on this autumn you can have a look and you are welcome to visit the exhibition. And then the fourth one is the sport journeys, and we are here to find new partners and to learn, basically to fulfill these goals I'm here described. And the last picture, this is from this summer. We had an Icelandic art exhibition in our gallery. This was a private exhibition by artist Kolbeinn Hugi. He's here in the middle with sunglasses. This was a part of the bigger Icelandic art exhibition in Finland, where we were one of the places. And this was about performance. There's on our Facebook, there's some videos about this if you're interested. It was really, really nice. That was about it. Thank you. If you have questions.